no, she's done it again. Meghan Markle has just made the judge of Australian MasterChef, a household name, beloved figure in Australia, Poh Ling Yeow, cry during filming.
Meghan Markle is attempting to distract by showing a series of holiday photos, her summer holiday photos, on Instagram, despite reports that she made one of the co-hosts on MasterChef basically cry.
But she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here.
This woman is really not oppressed. She's opportunistic.
Oh no, it's happened again. Meghan Markle has stirred up tension on the set of Australian MasterChef, and this time, it's taken a very public and emotional toll. The judge at the center of it all? None other than Poh Ling Yeow, a beloved household name in Australia, someone who commands respect and admiration across the nation. And during filming, Meghan's behavior pushed Poh Ling Yeow to tears. Yes, the same warm, popular figure was visibly upset, and it's not hard to see why. But make no mistake, this wasn't just a simple misunderstanding or a few harsh words exchanged. Meghan crossed the line into outright unpleasantness, displaying a form of intimidation that didn't sit well with anyone watching. Poh Ling Yeow was trying, in her own way, to make Meghan feel at ease, extending warmth on set. But instead, she was met with coldness, a sharp, unmistakable glare of disdain that said everything without words. The look on Meghan's face was pure dislike, almost as if she resented even the presence of kindness. Now, considering Meghan's past,
she seems to be an incredibly popular figure in Australia. And given Meghan's track record, I am inclined to believe that these sources to New Idea are correct. She was simply trying to make Meghan feel comfortable, trying to be warm, and you saw that look. Meghan hated her.
The narcissism and the lack of perspective from this woman is astounding. Let's not forget that Meghan Markle has a well-established track record of bullying. She thought nothing of bullying Princess Charlotte, a 3-year-old little girl. She thought that character building. But when it comes and it's flipped on her, it's like, how dare you call me out for bullying somebody? Because in her mind, like all bullies, it's acceptable to harm others and never get called out for it.
Many are inclined to believe insiders who say this behavior is part of a pattern. And here's where things get even more complicated. There's a theory that this entire situation might actually violate something called the Sandringham Summit Agreement. The controversy wasn't even about a vocal slip-up like someone mispronouncing a word related to royalty. It was rooted in a challenge on the show titled A Dish Fit for a Dutch, a cheeky title with clear allusions. Yes, and Meghan was definitely emphasizing her royal connections throughout. It's even more intriguing when you realize that Meghan wasn't on MasterChef just out of the kindness of her heart. Reports suggest she was in it for a significant paycheck from Channel 10. The cold, hard truth is that the icy expression she threw Poh Ling Yeow seemed all too familiar, the same look she reportedly aimed at other members of the royal family, like Catherine and Prince Harry, in tense moments just days before the show aired publicly. All this down the rabbit hole drama adds a complicated layer to what was supposed to be a simple cooking competition.
Meghan Markle may have thought her appearance on Australian MasterChef would help, propel her image as a chef, and yet somehow the appearance has turned into master mess. Because according to reports, Meghan Markle made one of the co-hosts cry over the use of the word royalty, which is utterly bizarre as Meghan is obsessed with her own title.
Behind the scenes, however, lines are being crossed and reputations challenged, making this far more than just a reality TV spat. This was a defining moment for the woman claiming the Duchess title, using it strategically as a tool to boost her standing and income in the entertainment world. The whole idea of royalty thrown around by Poh, completely irrelevant when viewed in the right light. What really mattered was how the word Duchess was wielded. Not just casually, but as part of a challenge in a reality TV show setting that would undoubtedly have shocked and saddened the late Queen Elizabeth II herself. Imagine the dignity and honor Her Majesty stood for, compared to this circus of spectacle. And then there's the odd claim about writing things on bananas. Yes, bananas, something Meghan Markle herself disputed in a public frustration report. Why would Chef Poh make such a claim? He clearly had nothing but good memories. By his account, the experience was fine. But the reality felt closer to a bully's playground, much like the kind of relentless torment a victim might face in a high school hallway. Meghan has long been accused of bullying behavior, and this situation only added fuel to those allegations.
Meghan Markle in New York, when she went to do an interview with somebody at a friend's house, she had her staff announced into the living room, the Duchess of Sussex is coming. When she went to that restaurant in Beverly Hills or whatever the hell it was, she came in that little golf court, and the reporter said that her assistant announced to the world, the Duchess of Sussex is coming. So are you telling me that Meghan Markle, who loves to remind people that she's ranked above everybody else in her mind, would have an issue with Judge Poh saying we have royalty in the house, because that's how Meghan sees herself?
What's most stunning is Meghan's complete inability to confront or admit to the negative impact of her actions, a deeply rooted sense of self that never allows for accountability. One moment, she would flip into her familiar, soft and caring persona, the very image she projects to the world, but beneath the surface, that softness never truly touched her. She was always waiting for the camera, knowing exactly how to find it and play to it. Then, when the video surfaced, spreading rapidly all across social media and online platforms, people saw clearly what it was, a display of pure, unfiltered mean girl behavior. There was zero grace, none of the kindness or empathy anyone would hope for in a woman of her claimed stature. It showcased her laughing at a young woman as she stumbled and fell over during her job, something so small, yet embarrassing and incredibly vulnerable. To witness such audacity, such a callous response from a grown woman was shocking. That was the true Meghan Markle leaking through the moment she forgot she was being filmed, and the carefully crafted image slipped away, revealing the harsh reality beneath. The camera is locked on her, and this isn't just a rare moment happening once in a while at a single event. No, every single time she appears in public these days, a fresh clip surfaces almost immediately.
My belief, Lady C, is that this show actually contravenes the Sandringham Summit Agreement. And it was nothing to do with poor Poh saying royalty. It was to do with the fact that the entire challenge was called a dish fit for a duchess. So there she is using her royal title. And my understanding, Lady C, is she wasn't doing this show for altruistic reasons. She was doing it for a big fat paycheck from Channel 10.
The internet lights up. Did you see what she just did? This roller coaster of reactions keeps circling back to the same three chilling words, so hard to like. And there's a real reason why that phrase keeps gaining traction, why it's echoing louder than ever before. People are finally starting to see behind the carefully crafted image. Now, imagine putting someone like lovely Poh next to her, a genuinely warm, generous soul who's beloved by an entire nation. Picture that kind-hearted figure stepping right into Meghan's glaring spotlight. The tensions that follow? Absolutely inevitable. It always boils down to tears, discomfort, and emotional showdowns. Meghan simply doesn't share the stage. She can't and won't. She needs to be the brightest, warmest presence in any room, the cleverest mind, the most adored figure, always the center of attention. And if anyone dares to steal even a flicker of her light, whether intentionally or just by accidentally shining a bit brighter, her response is to shut them out, to freeze them out, and secretly savor the moment of control. This is the entire facade, the be kind lady, who comes across as a moral compass, preaching to the world about kindness and calling out online negativity.
He's showing that vile look, the type of look that she used to shoot at Catherine and Prince Harry all the time, just days before the airing of the show, which was meant to be a big moment for the fake Duchess.
She had them slaving over a hot stove,
using her Duchess title in order to make money in the entertainment industry. So the fact poor Poh mentioned the word royalty is totally irrelevant to that. It's the use of the word and the term Duchess as part of a challenge in a reality TV show, which I think would have left the late Queen Elizabeth II completely horrified.
But behind the camera, the story looks very different. Behind closed doors, she's the one who reduced a deeply respected judge to tears, while she herself could barely suppress a smirk watching a model falter on stage. The kind-hearted persona, it's a carefully curated act. The colder, tougher, more guarded version of her is the reality that never makes it onto the spotlight. Now, If you want my unfiltered opinion, here it is every single time this woman steps into a room buzzing with people. The subtle power plays begin. The quiet battles for dominance start beneath the surface. And it's not just about being charming or warm. It's about maintaining an iron grip over the narrative, ensuring no one else eclipses her glow. Imagine a scenario where, every single time a group of people gathers, one person inevitably leaves in tears. Sounds intense, right? But here's the twist. Each time this happens, the response we get is always the same tired narrative. It's chalked up to a simple misunderstanding, perhaps a clash of personalities or egos, nothing deeper than that. And if that doesn't work, we're served some conveniently edited footage that downplays the entire incident, signaling there's nothing to see here.
Meghan Markle claps back and says that she doesn't understand why the Judge Poh would be upset. She had a wonderful experience, never from the point of view of the police, because she's only thinking of herself.
What I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills just give me a sec.
Writing stuff on bananas?
But when this phrase keeps echoing after a series of incidents, the cracks start to appear, and suddenly, you notice the consequences piling up like silent, unseen casualties. Now, let's talk about Poh, not a stroke of misfortune, but the undeniable result of a toxic environment. For this particular woman, someone breaking down and crying at work isn't an unusual one-off event. It's just another Tuesday on the calendar. But if you assumed all this turmoil erupted out of nowhere, sparked by a cooking show drama, pull up a chair because the story's far deeper and far older than that. Let's rewind the clock all the way back to 2018. At this point, Meghan was still fresh on the scene, the new face navigating the complex and demanding atmosphere of the palace. The establishment was seemingly doing everything possible to keep her comfortable and content. Yet, despite these efforts, tensions were already rising behind the scenes. Her own inner circle was quietly scrambling, some ready to bolt at the earliest opportunity. This is precisely where the infamous clash with Kate's camp began, not over something as trivial as a bridesmaid's dress, as the popular fairy tale goes, but something far more serious. What eventually came to light beyond rumors and loose talk was the way Meghan interacted with those employed beneath her at the palace. Things escalated to such a degree that it wasn't just whispered gossip anymore, but documented fact. A senior aide didn't hesitate to step forward and file a formal complaint.
I don't think anybody at Netflix could have seen the show before it went out, because it's not entertainment, it's not edifying in any way. It's really, really bizarre.
An official record branding Meghan's behavior as bullying. Two of her assistants, seasoned professionals who had poured years into their careers, felt driven to leave, quitting their posts entirely within a year. These weren't minor staffers. These were dedicated, experienced individuals who had worked tirelessly behind the scenes, yet they found the environment so unbearable under Meghan's leadership that they walked away, cutting ties with the household for good. This wasn't a fleeting problem or a momentary lapse. It was a pattern that layered over months, revealing a workplace culture riddled with pressure and distress. And it all began quietly, long before the headlines and the public drama ever surfaced. Behind the polished walls and glittering facade of royal life, the story told by those working closely with the Sussexes was far less picturesque. Time and again, employees found themselves trapped in a challenging environment they never anticipated. It became clear to some that no amount of prestige or royal service could justify enduring the tense atmosphere in just one room, the one filled with her presence. Before most of the public even had a chance to recognize Meghan, she had already earned a nickname among palace staff that whispered through the corridors.
I think her PR team launched out with some feelers, trying to see who might be somewhat interested in her appearance. And she was like, yes, let's do MasterChef. Because one of the things Meghan Markle has tried to do, and we've gone over this, but it's worth reiterating, is that she has a business based in the kitchen. She has a show based in the kitchen. But unfortunately for the woman, I don't think she enjoys being in the kitchen. And that's a really, really hard sell.
Duchess difficult. The turnover was swift and telling. One assistant barely made it 6 months before moving on, unable to cope with the pressure. When a woman was brought in with hopes of calming the storm and managing the situation, she unflinchingly likened her experience to babysitting a pair of moody teenagers, exhausting, yes, and frankly untenable. She wasted no time finding a way out at the earliest opportunity. When those entrusted with keeping royal confidences began quietly packing their bags, one had to take notice. This wasn't a fleeting rumor or exaggeration, it was a pattern. Of course, the palace response was typical. Harry himself reportedly pleaded fervently to sweep the matter under the rug, desperate to protect the family's reputation. An internal review was quietly launched and then promptly shelved. To this day, the findings remain hidden behind palace doors, never surfacing for public scrutiny.
What is it like to watch other celebrities, Gwyneth Paltrow, Meghan Markle, going in your footsteps and following something that you've really started?
I don't mind. Good luck. Meghan, I don't really know very well.
Convenient, absolutely. But the undeniable truth was clear. The departures were real, and they were only just the beginning. As the couple moved from one city to another, the same tale followed, like clockwork, growing harder to ignore. By 2021, rumors of emotional exhaustion and breakdowns among palace staff had become a recurring headline. It was said to be routine, almost an accepted part of the job to leave meetings in tears. One aide, preparing nervously for an encounter with Meghan, reportedly confided to a co-worker that she couldn't stop trembling, her hands shaking uncontrollably before a meeting with a woman whose public image was one of kindness and compassion. The contrast between appearance and reality was stark, and the story painted an unsettling picture behind the royal curtain. As she steps off the plane into the glitzy, sun-soaked streets of Hollywood, it seems like a fresh start, but almost immediately, the very same storm she tried to escape begins swirling right at her heels. Insider stories from those within her previous circle in Montecito paint a troubling picture. An employer who was far from easygoing.
Meghan Markle disputing the frustration report. No, why would Yeow say that? Why would Chef Poh say that? I had a great time. It was fine for me, just like it would be fine for the bully in high school, brutally harassing, punching his or her victim. Because Meghan Markle is a known bully. It's the levels of narcissism that Meghan Markle cannot conceive to actually admit that she is a monster.
According to these accounts, she stormed through the workplace like a whirlwind, barking commands with an intensity that left even the toughest grown men emotionally shaken, some reportedly reduced to tears. Yes, grown men, people, you'd expect to withstand pressure in competitive environments. The crew who somehow weathered that intense atmosphere didn't just quietly move on. Instead, they created their own identity, a tongue-in-cheek club they called the Sussex Survivors Club. The word survivors wasn't chosen lightly. It spoke volumes about the nature of their experience, hinting at days filled with tension and challenging dynamics rather than camaraderie. This kind of reputation is hard to shake off. And then, there's the charity that she and Harry championed. Rather than a story of inspiration and positive impact, it spiraled into a very public bullying scandal that grabbed headlines for weeks on end. The media frenzy surrounding it was relentless, shining a spotlight on turmoil behind the scenes. It was like stepping into another room ignited by the same troubling energy, with the same familiar haze of controversy lingering in the air.
She's not actually dumb. She is just nails down a chalkboard for me because there's nothing about her that's real. Every time you see her do a speech, every time you see an appearance from her, she's a completely different personality. And this is a woman that, turned around and said, actually, I'm too busy to cook, but I do really know how to make a takeaway look pretty. Let me guess, sprinkle some some flower petals on it. You know, even that, it's like, oh, look, flower petals. Everybody think of me. You know, I sell flower petals, don't you? It's just going to be really, really bad.
She's just someone, you know, cooked up a few dishes and thinks that makes her an expert at cookery, at entertaining, at all things domestic. It's rubbish, isn't it?
Think about the long list of people who have worked closely with her, from personal assistants and aides to TV producers and security personnel. One by one, across continents, be it inside the palace walls, busy Hollywood studios, or even on a cooking show set in Sydney, they have quietly slipped away, unable to withstand the pressure. The succession of departures has been so steady and consistent that even seasoned journalists tracking the story have lost count. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. It's not just a few isolated incidents scattered over time. It's a clear, persistent pattern repeating itself across every major chapter of her career, spanning 3 different continents. That's an extraordinary set of circumstances by anyone's standards. It's almost impossible to chalk it up to simple bad luck. This is not a story of chance. This is the true, undeniable reflection of who she is behind the scenes. Poh Ling Yeow is the latest name to join a long, complex chapter of controversy that actually began nearly a decade ago, halfway across the globe. This recent twist isn't some isolated event, it's the newest link in a chain that's been building quietly but relentlessly for years.
When we did our parody of Meghan's stupid Netflix show, trying to make herself into the next Martha Stewart, and we realized her one-pot pasta is just a blatant ripoff of Martha Stewart's one-pot pasta, which turned out to be like one of her most famous recipes. And it's honestly just like unabashed ripoff. I'm sure Martha's heard about it and is probably like, who is this fool trying to imitate that she's me, as she, out of the other side of her mouth, complains about how her castle is too small.
And the moment this news hit the headlines this week, Meghan's response was swift and telling. It reveals so much about her character and how she handles pressure. Most people, when faced with accusations that might have hurt someone's feelings, would choose to respond with care, perhaps a thoughtful gesture, a sincere apology, or some kind of peace offering. But Meghan? Her first move was almost like clockwork, a carefully choreographed distraction. Instead of addressing the issue directly, she flashed a rehearsed, warm smile to the media, shifting focus away from the core of the controversy.
Well, interesting. What I learned about myself is no matter what my name is, or what people call me, I'm still the same person.
Meghan, off. Did you see this moment right here? It was almost as cringe. She thinks something is funny. It clearly isn't. Turns to Marcus Anderson, her gay BFF who's behind all of this, wanting him to join in. He's like, no way. Just turn around. Behave. I've got this gig for you, you stupid woman. Just behave. And then she's furious.
Almost immediately, a story appeared in a well-known American publication, an outlet that has increasingly taken on the role of her unofficial public relations team. The article painted a glowing picture, Meghan supposedly having a wonderful time, radiating charm, and being adored by everyone around her. The story's source? Of course, it was someone from within her inner circle, someone privy to her side of the story. It's a predictable move, really, and incredibly revealing. The timing couldn't have been more deliberate. Just as the storm was breaking, this warm narrative was released to steer the public conversation away from the uncomfortable truth. It's almost a classic PR play, control the message before the story spirals. What followed next was even more telling. Meghan's usually silent Instagram account, which had been quiet for weeks, suddenly came back to life in a dramatic fashion. The floodgates opened, and her timeline was instantly filled with a cascade of sun-soaked holiday photos, beach scenes, playful moments, and carefully curated snapshots designed to shout one message: we're happy, we're in love, everything is perfect. Among those pictures was the unmistakable image of an idealized, picture-perfect family.
It doesn't work for you to shoulders back, breasts out, headlights going, and try to look as bitchy as possible.
There could have been something that could have been misconstrued. The judge actually wanted to reach out and apologize to Meghan Markle. I don't know why, but she felt the need to do so. But in Meghan Markle's head, how dare you complain? Just complaining about me being a bully? That is egregious. How dare you? You are cut off. You don't have access to me anymore. It's just like her father, what she did to her father.
And here's the kicker: she chose this exact day, the birthday of a certain young prince closely tied to the core royal family, to share these happy glimpses into her life. It was as if she wanted to ensure the real working royals couldn't enjoy even a single day of quiet celebration without her presence overshadowing it. It's hard not to notice a pattern here. Despite the criticism, despite the scrutiny, she just can't seem to resist putting herself back in the spotlight at precisely the most provocative moments. But of all the images she shared, the most surprising and, perhaps the most questionable was the one taken at Althorpe, the resting place of the beloved Diana. A photo so personal and sacred should have been handled with the utmost respect and discretion. Instead, she chose to share a picture from Diana's family grounds, a move that felt like crossing an unspoken line, given the charged emotions involved. It's moments like this that raise questions about the true intent behind these carefully timed and curated public displays. Amid the sun-drenched beach shots and colorful smoothie scenes, she slipped in a brief glimpse of a tranquil home, an attempt perhaps to soften her image, to nestle herself among charming decor and peaceful surroundings. It looked like a carefully curated backdrop, a pretty distraction to paint her in a gentler light.
She's walking around like she's the She's got her arms flowing. She's really feeling her oats. Woman, please go back to California and be with your children and go and find a career other than just being desperate for attention every single day.
The fallout between Meghan Markle and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, this was way back in 2018 when no one knew any of this publicly. Only people within the royal family knew the way that Meghan was going on about people within the British royal family. And Catherine had turned on Meghan Markle specifically because of the way that she was bullying staff within the grounds of Kensington Palace.
But one viewer summed it up far more sharply than I ever could. Nothing is off limits for this woman. She's caught in the grip of a scandal swirling around her own harsh behavior, yet instead of facing it head-on, she clings to her late mother-in-law's home, using it like a prop to project an image of vulnerability. The audacity is staggering. Some might call it grief, a tender response to loss, if they're feeling charitable, but it feels far more like a staged photo shoot, a carefully scripted scene designed for public consumption rather than private mourning. This 1 week encapsulates everything about her. She can make a judge shed tears one moment, then immediately retreat behind the facade of a glossy magazine cover, a child's birthday party, or even a solemn graveside. The same day holds both cruelty and concealment in equal measure, a split personality in full display. When you put it all together, the picture is impossible to ignore, though she almost certainly never will. Let's tally it up, because somewhere beneath all the distractions is the true story she hopes no one will piece together. A cooking show that was met with resounding failure, receiving 0 ratings, no viewers, no fans.
We just heard how Yeow tried to have a sense of humor with her in the kitchen, and yet Meghan Markle was having none of it. I guess for Meghan Markle, sense of humor means mocking somebody like she did Princess Charlotte or even Princess Catherine or anybody around who has worked with her. Yeah, that is Meghan Markle's sense of humor, denigrating, mocking people, sending them to see a shrink. She wants to showcase that image to the world that she is the one who's the boss, but she's not really the boss.
Recipes under fire, accused of being lifted from other women's original creations. Food she doesn't even prepare herself, relying on others to do the work. A model she openly mocked during a runway event, showing a callous disregard for others' feelings. A judge who was moved to tears right on set because of her actions. Staff at the palace who were driven away, broken by bullying, aides who trembled with fear before meetings, intimidated by her presence, a survivors club whispered about behind closed doors, with her name stamped across it like a permanent scar. 8 long years, spanning 3 continents, all orbiting the same woman, and the story never changes.
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over. So for her, it's time to move on.
The reporter that actually revealed the HR documentation between senior palace officials, revealing that there had been a number of HR complaints as a result of Meghan Markle's bullying of people, including PAs, that they were wanting to investigate.
Read that list again, slowly this time. Every single name, every single detail is real. None of it fabricated, none of it exaggerated. It's a relentless pattern, a web of behavior that refuses to loosen. And through it all, she moves on, leaving the same trail every single time. One of those people was simply trying to do their job, quietly and without fanfare. Yet, amidst all the chaos she stirred, she mastered the art of playing a role like an actress in a carefully scripted drama. She assumed the part of the queen, the kindly sage who champions compassion, the flawless domestic goddess reigning over Montecito's social scene, and the wronged little princess who's always the victim. She carried herself with a certain haughty grace, as if she were on a completely different plane from the rest of us, delivering lectures about kindness and empathy, all while leaving a wake of hurt feelings and tears in her path.
MasterChef drama that's dropping before the even episode airs, which is so incredibly typical for Harry and Meghan, it seems, especially Meghan. Nothing but drama and toxicity follows this woman everywhere, because that's what she does a lot, is make people cry. You get the sense that Meghan lives with no stress in her life, or she's embellishing, which I think Meghan does so much, guys, is that there's kernels of truth in what she says pretty much always, but she always over embellishes.
Wherever she went, it was like watching a woman who couldn't boil water telling professional chefs how to create a masterpiece, or someone chuckling at people's missteps while insisting everyone should be gentle with one another. She wanted the glory, the crown, and the admiration only when it suited her narrative. But the moment the real-world consequences appeared, she was quick to back away, slipping out of responsibility like a shadow fading at dusk. On Monday, she'd preach about kindness as if it were a sacred gospel. By Tuesday, someone's already left in tears, wondering what just happened. There's a chilling certainty in how she operates. She acts like it's invisible to everyone around her, as if no one notices the emotional damage, as if no one can hold her accountable.
It's a bully, always a bully, isn't that right? That over a long period of time, across multiple continents, multiple countries, there have been a long list of Meghan's victims. At the time, you saw Meghan try and say that this was all part of a witch hunt and was courtiers working against her with people like me. But indeed, as soon as she moved to Hollywood, we saw the same thing, with astonishing reports coming from Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter, and then the damning accusations from Dr. Sophie Chandoka of the Centre Bali organization, which are now due to be heard in court.
The criticisms quietly disappear, tucked away and forgotten. When a magazine dares to mention anything, it's swiftly followed by a clean-up effort so polished it erases all doubts. Instagram buzzes for a moment. Then she's off again onto the next kitchen, the next unsuspecting soul, the next place where trust gets broken in silence. Her mask never falters, never slips, not once. Instead, when the facade cracks, it's always someone else who bears the burden, thrown under the spotlight while she glides away untouched by the very consequences everyone else endures.
She's not doing this for the money. Don't even suggest it. She's not doing this for the money. She's doing this because it is her love language, okay?
Not surprised. Meghan has this reputation. And so now they have to go with a positive spin. Oh, no. Meghan had a great time on MasterChef Australia, sources say, disputing frustration report. It's just a propaganda outlet anymore. They're not really doing any real reporting. I don't really trust any of their royal reporting, except for something like this, because I know they got it from Harry and Meghan's team, and the point is that they got it from Harry and Meghan's team so that Meghan can dispute public narratives.
They're wondering whether this marriage can survive it. For now, the Sussexes remain together publicly, but behind palace and Hollywood doors, the whispers are growing louder that they may be entering a very different solo chapter.
And just like that, by the time the trembling finally fades, she's already flashing that signature smile at the next camera, reminding everyone softly, almost sweetly, to be kind. Oh, darling, you've officially made the cut. It's a hefty little club these days, sadly, and you'll fit right in without missing a beat. Now here's where it gets juicy. How many is it exactly? Count them up for me in the comments. One by one, name by name. Even the veterans who've been tracking this full time have long since waved the white flag. So tell me, who's next on Meghan's ever-growing list? And seriously, does she ever pay for any of them? I mean, one time. Just once, anytime. Lay down your thoughts below. I read every single one, no joke. Also,
she's attempting to deflect from negative headlines in People magazine, and it's not going to work. And she's also probably trying to distract from Prince Harry's horrific last couple of weeks, where he face planted so hard into the UK, he left an imprint of his face and got utterly humiliated by the High Court.
She creates this imaginary slight so as not to take accountability for her behavior. And the fact that the royal family are still going at it and endorsing this behavior, it's not helpful. But good on Chef Poh for actually speaking out and exposing her, because I know there's been some clips of Chef Poh talking about how wonderful and beautiful Meghan Markle is. That was at the early stages when they needed to promote this, when they needed to land this woman. The truth has finally come out. But I think enough is enough. This woman is a bitch. She's a bully.
don't forget to smash that like button if you want to keep seeing content that really peels back the layers and reveals the truth behind the glitz. It truly helps this channel reach more viewers who aren't afraid to look beyond the surface. And hit subscribe while you're at it, because this week is packed with even more eye-opening stories you won't want to miss. Coming up next, we're diving deep into the whispers swirling around that Montecito marriage rumor, something so quiet, nobody from California dares say it to her face. Plus, we'll explore why the recent photo dump timing has folks asking an incredibly uncomfortable question. That video goes live in just a couple of days. Trust me, you want to be here for it. This is the kind of star spotlight where the mask slips, always does, and we're right here watching every moment. Don't miss it.